wait, shit.
Couch Guy Sports Podcast, episode number 159. Nick Quaglia, Jared Scali. And this week, we've got a guest host going to be on for the entire show, Mike Molyneaux. You guys have heard me talk before about the CLNS Patriots Roundtable. I've brought that up a bunch of times on the show. Mike is one of my co-hosts on that show. And now Mike is going to be on this show tonight because we've got a heavy slate to talk about. So, Mike, thank you, my man, for coming on.
Hey, man, I'm happy to be here for sure. You guys are great, doing great things over here with Couch Guys.
We appreciate you, and I wish Marv could have came on tonight too. I thought it was gonna be a big old group of four. I thought we were gonna have me, you, Jared, and Marv, and I was excited. But I love having just you on too. But I would have loved to get both of Double M Media because I kind of wanted to have a crossover too of Couch Guys Sports and Double M Media.
We'll figure that out.
So before we get into the show, we're not going to do the weekly dump this week because honestly, there's a lot more important stuff going on other than just, well, I mean, there's really not much sports news going on in the first place. But regardless, there is a lot more important things going on in the, honestly, not even just the United States, the world.
The world.
Because we're gonna be talking about protests. And do you know how fucking insane our country has to be to have Dublin, Ireland, and England protesting us? They're protesting the United States. So that is how crazy things are right now in the United States. But boys, before we get into it, before we get into the main meat of the show, we have to say thank you to our sponsors, our men and women over at Manscaped. Fun fact, San Diego, California, beautiful place. Manscaped, support for today's episode comes from Manscaped. Manscaped has the right tools to get the job done quickly, safely, and hygienically, baby. Father's Day is just around the corner, and you guys probably need a gift for your hairy-ass dad or your dad's hairy ass. Make your dad proud this year and get him and yourself the Manscaped Perfect Package. You know what they say, like father, like son. Your father's hairy. Even if you're not hairy right now, you're probably going to be fucking hairy in the future. You might as well
get your
puberty now. Yeah, prepare for it now. If you're 20 years old and haven't hit puberty yet, go to your doctor.
Yeah.
I've talked about this same story every week. Mike, I don't know if you've heard me talk about this story, but when I was younger, when I was about 13, 14 years old, I thought that you had to use little scissors to manscape. I clipped the beanbag.
Yeesh!
Things weren't great.
Right?
I wouldn't have done that. Wouldn't have done that if I had the Lawnmower 3.0. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming. They have forever changed the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. The Perfect Package 3.0 by Manscaped is the #1 recommended gift all year long. The Perfect Package 3.0 comes with the essential Lawnmower 3.0 water-resistant cordless body hair trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. Manscaped only uses the best ingredients, so you only have the best experience. This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents on any part of the body. Hairy chest or back? Look no further, guys. We've got the solution right here. Stop imagining your dad has it covered because he probably doesn't. Listen, I know my dad very well. The man, there's no chance he has it covered. He needs this stuff. This 7,000 RPM trimmer has helped prevent manscaping accidents around the world. Inside the Perfect Package, you'll also find the Manscaped Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant, and moisturizer. You guys, you put deodorant on your armpits, throw it on your balls as well. The Crop Reviver, refreshing spray, and reduced chafing athletic boxer briefs. The boxer briefs, I use them when I work out. I got some thick-ass legs. My legs don't chafe with these things. Phenomenal. Subscribe to the Perfect Package to get a new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure that your trimmer always stays hygienic and clean. This is the perfect package for you and your dad's perfect package. We're talking balls. For a limited time, subscribers get a free gift, the Shed Travel, at $39 value add. And that's a bag, by the way. For all the females listening, you'll appreciate this part. Manscaped products are cruelty-free. Paraben, I don't know what that says. Paraben-free, dye-free, and vegan. And let me just say this. You don't have to be a woman to appreciate cruelty-free products, because I appreciate the hell out of that. Get 20% off with free shipping with the code CouchGuy20 at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor and always use the best tools for the job. Guys, get 20% off with free shipping with the code CouchGuy20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use promo code CouchGuy20, CouchGuy20. It's dad bod season. Time to get smooth. All right. That was our wonderful read over at Manscaped. So let's get into the meat of the show, the main part of the show. Obviously, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the United States right now that has completely overridden. This is mostly a sports show, but sports are taking a back seat for the most part. There are some sports themes here, as we're going to talk about some of the Celtics players who, by the way, right now, I've never been more proud to be a fan of the Boston Celtics.
They're killing it. Jaylen Brown drove 12 hours.
I think it was 15.
15. Oh, it was 15 hours.
Yeah.
15 hours to go lead a peaceful protest down in Atlanta. So the United States, many of the major cities are rioting currently over the death of George Floyd. And you don't want to sugarcoat it. It was a murder of George Floyd at the hands of a Minnesota police officer. So, and it's Derek. I always mispronounce his last name. Derek.
I'm the same way.
Last name, how to pronounce it.
I always screw up his last name, so I don't want it to, because I want it. It's so the Minnesota police officer murder George Floyd, and the United States, many of the major cities are protesting. And with that too, and we're going to talk more about this stuff. Previously, I mean, in past the peaceful protests also has come some rioting, some looting. And again, we're going to get more into that stuff too. But Mike, I want to throw it over to you. I just want to get your thoughts on basically all of it. Everything that you feel that you think should be said, 100% should be said. So let's throw it over to you.
I mean, where to start with everything going on? It's insane. It's insane. And, you know, what's truly more insane about it is the fact that this is nothing going on that's brand new to this country. This is nothing brand new that we've never seen before. The conversations that are being had right now, the protests, the different things that are going on is not new to anybody who's been alive for at least the last 15, 20 years. You know, if you've taken notice, you know, this is issues, this is problems, this is racism that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the fact that we're all the way here in 2020, where so much things are advanced, society has moved forward in technology and different things going on. If there's one thing that hasn't changed, hasn't, you know, evolved in any type of way or taken it back, it's something that hasn't disappeared whatsoever, is the fact that racism is still present in 2020. And, you know, like I said, there's been many examples of it. It's nothing new, but this George Floyd situation, this George Floyd murder in the street by a police officer in Minnesota, here we are again. And I'm sad to say that I don't see a change coming immediately, because this is something that's going on. But what I'm happy to see, you know, that's going on for sure, is voices are starting to be heard a little bit more. You know, this is not something that is getting brushed under the rug. And none of these murders that have happened over the course of years and years and years now ever really get brushed under the rug. But I feel as if, you know, obviously a lot of African Americans have taken a stand at the same time. But I appreciate the fact that there are more people wanting to have their voices heard right now. You know, the protests are going on. I have friends, family who have been out there protesting for sure. And, you know, everybody wants peaceful protests. Everyone say, if you want to protest, sure, let it be peaceful. But at the same time, on the opposite side of that, there's looting taking place. There's property getting destroyed. There's different things happening where people are getting arrested. People are getting assaulted by police. Those things are taking place. And here's what I got to say about that. Nobody wants any type of looting taking place. Nobody wants any property destroyed. People don't want that. But how much can people take after a while? Yep. How many times can you continue to poke something over and over again and expect not to see any type of rage or anger take place. I don't want to see anybody's people are losing like personally owned business. Small owned businesses in different cities are getting destroyed. Vehicles, different things are getting destroyed, which again is not good. But people are pissed off. People are angry as shit and they can't take it anymore, which is why everything that's going on is getting taken to a bigger level where you're seeing anger really start to show. And it's not fun for anybody, but this is what happens when people are pushed to a level of anger and something that has been taking place for years and years and years now. You guys are seeing it, and I appreciate you guys having me on, on here to talk about it more, because this is what we need. People who have platforms similar to you guys who are willing to have these conversations so people can be heard. People need to be heard about what's happening, what's taking place. And if you have a platform, you guys have this platform, myself and Marv, we have Dublin, we use our platform. If you have a platform and a place to speak from, use it, do it, make the voice heard, because these conversations need to continue to happen over and over and over again.
I think one thing, too, that is making this whole thing even more impactful is we're all stuck at home. Like, COVID-19 is obviously crap, right? Like, it's awful. I think we're all getting frustrated by that alone. And then you throw this on top of it. Everyone's frustrated, angry, being stuck at home. People have lost loved ones to COVID-19. Like, it's a global pandemic. And then you throw these angry, frustrated people at that on top of this. And then you have a president, again, not to get super political, but like you have a president who has no idea how to handle any of this stuff. I think we all kind of have one source for both issues, right? Pandemic and this racism issue, right? Everything kind of stems back to how Trump's handled it, and it's been crap. Like we saw at the White House, Trump ordered local police to kind of fend off peaceful protesters because he had a photo shoot to deal with. And then as soon as it got too rowdy, he didn't make any statement. He didn't try to work like the governors are working. He went back to the bunker and kind of hit. And I get he's the president, but at the same time, if you're the president during a pandemic and then all of this, you suck it up and you're out in the front lines. So I think for me, from the outside looking in, you almost feel like there is more of an impact this time around with all these voices being heard, because everyone else has a voice now, because we're all stuck at home. We're all on the internet more than we usually are. And there's kind of a common enemy between all of this.
And Mike, I wanna get your thoughts on this, because to me, this is probably one of the most frustrating aspects of this whole thing. And obviously there's much more frustrating aspects. This is what happened to George Floyd, and nobody should be mixing any words. And this was an issue I took right at the start of all this. For whatever reason, there was a lull, and it seemed like there were some people who wanted to wait to take a side. We had all the information at this point. We saw how George Floyd was prior to being knelt on in the back of the neck. What happened to him was completely uncalled for. And now we have even more information. We have a separate independent autopsy saying that these BS other conditions that he had, that the other report is now trying to blame on it, didn't have an impact in this. Didn't have an impact in it. The officer was kneeling on George Floyd's neck for an additional 2.5 minutes after George Floyd was unresponsive. That is disgusting. And the fact that there were even people waiting to see if there was more information, there was no time for more information. It was clear as day what happened. And it was clear as day what happened when there were other officers posting on social media how fucked up this was. But that's not even what I was going to say. Mike, I wanted to get your opinion on this. This is one of the more frustrating things for me is you see a lot of these people, and like you said, we don't want rioting, we don't want looting. But at the same time, people are so angry, like you said, because before we watched Colin Kaepernick and a lot of the NFL players kneeling in stadiums. But then you have all these people who are saying, protest peacefully, protest peacefully. There's a peaceful protest, but no, not like that. Don't do it like that either. Don't do it like that either. Don't do it like that either. So at what point are you just going to accept the way that the Black Lives Matter is going to protest because they need a protest, but every time they've tried, you've said, no, don't do it like that. It's disrespectful.
That's why when people see on, news outlets and whatnot, looting and rioting taking place, that's why part of people's mentality who are probably sitting back at home observing They don't give a damn about what's getting destroyed. They don't give a damn about what's lit on fire, what bricks are thrown through car windows. They don't care, because you have someone like Colin Kaepernick who's on a big-time platform talking about the NFL here.
Massive.
All he's doing on the sidelines during the national anthem is taking a knee. And he's made it clear-cut. Everybody knows why he's taking a knee. It's not about the flag and this. He's taking a knee about the injustices taking place, similar to what we're seeing now. And the masses of people that gave him backlash just for doing that, something as peaceful as it gets, taking a knee, standing up and going about his job, playing football, but taking a knee to showing what he stands for at the same time. And now people see what's happening, and some people are like, damn, Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, and now this is taking place. And now you see pictures out there. How symbolic is that Kaepernick was just trying to knee on the ground to have eyes, opened wider to what's happening in the United States. But right next to that, you have a guy, a black man on the floor with the white police officer kneeing in his neck, taking his life away. Literally, life leaving his body, not showing remorse, anything right now. So, another thing that's going on with the looting and protesting, this is something that I've heard from friends and family who have been out there. There's people out there with a different agenda. Don't get me wrong. People are upset and angry and causing destruction and whatnot. But there's people out there with a different agenda just to go out there and destroy and make damage and chaos, just to have the media make it look as if, black people are out there just trying to destroy the country, destroy the world. I've heard from firsthand, sources that they've seen bricks just randomly piled in different areas in the city.
A lot of pictures have been posted about that.
Walking around, people walking around with bricks, for what? People, hey, don't get me wrong. People out there protesting, angry, destroying, whatnot. But at the same time, people are going outside with alternative, thoughts on just how can we create chaos to make this even more wild, which is a whole nother side of this issue going on. People want peaceful protests for sure, and people are going to be upset and make stuff happen. But then it's such a sick and twisted world that people use this time as well to try to add extra chaos to the situation by setting up mysterious bricks and putting things out there so that stuff can happen.
And we see this a lot with protests too, is like people always want to do this kind of stuff, and then they take advantage of these kind of things to actually make it happen. Like in what normal day you can see someone walking on the street to destroy a store, right? People are just in their DNA want to do that stuff, but it's like they can get away with it when they're part of a protest. Whereas if they're just like one person walking down Newbury Street down in Boston and throw a brick in someone's store in whatever Patagonia, call a store, they're gonna get arrested. But if you do it now, it's just part of the protest, and they're probably not gonna get touched.
It's chaos.
Right.
It's extra chaos, man.
I think there are also a lot of people, especially at this point too. I think there's a lot of people who are just trying to take advantage of this situation, which is gross, but they're trying to take advantage of the protests in trying to now steal shit because this is their opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
And just the thought process there. Like one of the most heartbreaking videos that has come out of this was that man, I believe it was in Minnesota, who opened up his own sports bar. He said he's an African American man who worked his life and opened up a sports bar. He might have used his life savings, I forget the exact context, but he lost it. People broke in and stole his safe while he was there. So there's people just taking advantage of the situation.
That's the part that really hurts me, because again, I think about it. I have so many mixed feelings and emotions, and there's that story you just said, Nick, and then I've seen videos of, there's black people out there with these businesses, and they're getting destroyed. And, with the cameras, the media, these news outlets, they'll show you that these, black people are marching and whatnot because, Black Lives Matter. But again, like I'm saying, there's people out there with alternative methods right now just to try to push a whole different kind of agenda. Because what the camera's going to show you is this rioting is taking place and people is causing all this destruction, but it's mainly the black people that's out there walking around and doing things, when that's not really the case. And it's sad to see that this is what it's come to, in a sense, just in a total, outlook of everything going on. It's sad to see that this is where we're at. And it's tough times right now. It's really tough.
Now, one thing, because like I said, I wanted to, unless you guys have any more that you want to talk about with the basis of that. Something that we're all big Boston sports fans. Is something that I thought was really powerful, especially from this area, was some of the leaders from the Boston Celtics came out and supported everything that they were supporting Black Lives Matter. They were leading protests. They were leading peaceful protests. And we talked about Jaylen Brown driving 15 hours down to Atlanta, which I thought is incredible. Jaylen Brown, and Mike, I texted you and Marv about this yesterday. Jaylen Brown is one of my favorite people going right now. The guy is so smart. He's so logical. He's so well thought. He's very well read. I heard an interview before. It was one of those random internet videos where he like answers questions from the internet or something like that. And he was talking about how he doesn't watch TV. He just reads books. Like, the guy is just, that's why he didn't like Kyrie Irving. He's a real smart guy. He's a genuine intellect.
Kyrie's an idiot. Yeah.
Kyrie's a fake intellect. But Jaylen Brown just his drive to get down there 15 hours to Atlanta in Georgia, because he's from Georgia, to lead that protest, I thought was awesome. And just seeing people, if you don't follow Enes Kanter too closely, because this is his first year at the Celtics, obviously the season didn't finish. This guy has been fighting for what's the word that you want to use here? He's been leading things like this for a long time, because he can't even go back to his home country because he's been going against their government, their government that wants him essentially arrested for speaking out against their government. So, I mean, Mike, what do you think about all these Celtics players coming out? You got Vincent Poirier, who was there, Marcus Smart, who is another huge leader, Enes Kanter, Jaylen Brown, all showing up big time for Black Lives Matter.
Just to dial it in, just to the Celtics. Again, Jaylen Brown doing big things, Enes Kanter out there. And side note, Enes Kanter, Marv, who was at that same march, was right next to Enes Kanter. There's a picture out there with Marv and him. They took a picture together. And it just, when I see Enes Kanter, he doesn't have to be there. He's dealing with a whole bunch of other stuff in his life, in his own country. He does not need to be walking the streets. He plays for the Celtics, the Boston Celtics. Sure, they're paying his checks right now. But he does not need to be marching in the streets of Boston. But that just goes to show you how fed up people are feeling. No matter what side of the fence you are on, what side of people are upset with what's going on, no matter what you look like. If you have just a heart that beats inside of your body and you can know what right and wrong is, what murder looks like, people are just mad. And it's Kanter out there, shout out to him. But just players from, any sport team, doesn't matter. The fact that they're getting out there in the streets with regular people, in a sense, because they're big-time celebrities, athletes, whatever the case may be. But they're getting out there on the front lines in the streets with people who are marching, who are putting, their lives on the line, pretty much, being out there in the streets with these police forces out there. It shows a lot. And I think that's something that can kind of show you where we're getting pushed to in this current day and age, where it don't matter how high up on the totem pole you are in terms of status. When you know something's wrong and you're ready to stand for it, you got to be willing to do that, man. And shout out to Kanter, Jaylen Brown, and all the other athletes who are out there doing their thing for sure.
And Mike, you talked about like these guys, if we have a platform, use it. Enes Kanter was out there in a Celtics jersey. Like people,
he wanted people to know he played for the Celtics.
People know who he was. People to know who he was. I think people know who Kanter is anyway, because he's very outspoken. He's awesome on social media. All crap aside, right? He's an awesome personality, and people don't necessarily know his story, but this guy is totally against his government and is wanted for treason at home, overseas. So he can't go back. They tried to keep him from traveling to Canada to play against the Raptors. There's a lot of crap going on there. So we know he likes to speak up and voice his opinion regardless. But the fact that he goes out in this massive swarm of people, I know it wasn't Atlanta, but still, and wears his Boston Celtics jersey, nonetheless. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Jaylen Brown. He drove 15 hours. He can have a pass by not wearing his Celtics jersey.
And everybody knew who Jaylen Brown was, too.
Everybody knows who Jaylen Brown is, right? And they all have their masks on, too. But Kanter's out there, however tall he is, in the Celtics jersey, slumming it up because it all matters. It doesn't matter who they are, but they're using their platform in the right way to take advantage of what they can do while they're not playing.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. And when it comes to situations like this happen in society, you can blow all of that celebrity status, whatever, out the window.
Athletes are people too. Athletes are people too.
A human being seeing what's right and wrong in the world and wanting to say something about it, be something about it. make a stand, take a stance, whatever it is. None of that other stuff matters when it comes to we're bleeding the same blood, we're inhaling and exhaling the same air. Like, we standing together, and shout out to these guys who are out there with the people in the streets, doing their thing as well. It says a lot because people will take notice. People will take notice about who you are and how you feel and where you stand. Even if it's not a situation like this, if you're an athlete, celebrity, and you make a statement on whatever, people will take notice. Oh, that's what that person thinks. So if you have the platform, if you have the status to be about something, now is the time to do it.
Now, do you think that, because this is the feeling that I've garnered over, or I've gathered, I don't even know if garnered is the right word there, that I've gathered over the past. I'm trying to expand my vocab, okay?
Try harder.
This is a feeling that I've seen since really all of the protesting has started. I feel like the message this time is really starting to. It feels like more people are understanding what's happening. It's impacting more people. And one clue why I think that this is happening and why I think this is because before, when Black Lives Matter really started growing, the phrase, the term, the hashtag, all of that, there were a lot of people who were also screaming back for no reason, all lives matter. But you're not seeing that as much this time. And all lives matter. These people who scream this, they do not understand what is happening. Because not in one part, listen, Black lives matter. Not at one point in that to say only. Nobody was saying that all lives don't matter. But the analogy that I've been hearing a lot this week. If there's one house on fire in a neighborhood, you're going to focus on that house because that house is having a major issue right now. We need to help that house. But that doesn't mean all the other houses in the neighborhood don't matter.
Well, that's a perfect example because, like, you look at when people get sick, people get ill, right? Like your neighborhood, like not even this, like cancer. Like if someone gets cancer, yeah, I'm going to wish that you don't get cancer. I'm going to be praying and thought for you that you stay healthy, but they're the ones that have cancer. I'm going to look out for them and donate to them and make sure they can get through as much as possible. It's the same thing, just it's tied to a more sensitive topic than something that we all can agree on in cancer. Like people don't want to talk about this because it's a topic that some people are still assholes about.
Yeah. Mike, what do you think? Do you think there's been more of an impact here this time?
Absolutely. And, again, part of it, sadly, is because this shit still keeps happening in the country. And, the clowns out there who still are preaching this, well, all lives matter, all lives matter. I can't truly understand and comprehend what they don't get in terms of the movement, the statement, Black Lives Matter. Not once have you heard anybody say, it's Black lives only and F everybody else. That is not what this is about at all. We're saying Black Lives Matter because Black lives are the one that's constantly being taken daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. We're saying that because we want people to take notice of these lives that are also walking, breathing, living right next to you. It's not about just Black lives here. It's not. But we're going to make this statement because clearly our lives compared to our lives in what a lot of people consider a lot of sick and twisted people in this world, our Black lives don't mean shit, in all honesty, to a lot of people, which is why we make that statement. It's not a knock on anybody else, but we want our lives to matter just as much as your lives matter, But there's people in this world who's stupid and still don't understand that mindset and concepts, and it's sad to see. It's sad that they don't understand that. But like you said, Nick, I think this time around, it's starting to hammer home a little bit more. It's sad that it's taken this long, but it's starting to get to that point where
I think a lot of it's our generation too. I think this generation, our generation who gets it more. We are now, it's our time. We're taking over. And I think adults. Now that our generation, our generation say, hey guys, we have to stop the bullshit and figure it out.
Yeah.
We have to. Look, I didn't mean to interrupt you because I want to give you the floor as much as possible, but just something that I think a lot of people can't grasp is that now I'm getting mad. Something that people can't grasp is like I grew up a middle-class white kid from a small-ass, country-ass town.
Yeah.
I don't know shit. I don't have to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
But I understand that there are other people who do have to deal with this stuff. And because of that, we as a society, we have to figure it the fuck out. Because me not having to deal with it, but other people having to deal with it, that is not fair. We need to live in a society where and this shouldn't be a controversial statement, guys. Everybody has to be treated fucking equal. That's all it comes down to. And the fact that we have to deal with this still, and the fact that we have to have this conversation, it sucks. It just sucks.
Hey, you preach it to someone who's been hearing this conversation, living, breathing this conversation his whole life. To put it bluntly, like you just said, you grew up, whatnot. The day you were born, the day I was born, I was already at a disadvantage. And that's just the reality of it. The day I was born compared to the day you guys were born, you guys are already up here the moment you came out the womb, and I'm already here just from being born into this life. And that's just the actuality of it, and it sucks. But it's on us in our generation, in the sense, the crazy thing that I'm even hearing nowadays that people talk is they're saying people around our age, they don't even want to have kids right now. People that look like me don't even want to have kids right now because they don't want them born into this world. And that making me a little sad and emotional right now to think that people don't even want to give new life because they don't want their children born into this world of such hatred. And it sucks. But we have to be the ones to make the change somehow. Because I'll be damned if I have a son or daughter and I'm in the hospital next to my wife and, the doctors are bringing them into this world and putting them in my wife and my hands. And I'm looking at them saying, damn, son or daughter, you already 20, 50 steps back. And you ain't even taken a step yet. You haven't even done anything yet in this world, but you already 50 steps back. That has to change, man. We have to put the work in to change that, especially our generation who can do something about it, who can use our platforms and our voices now. We have to do something about it.
And it's a simple, and it's obviously not an answer by any means, but one big step that we do have to do this year, and it's very relevant, is we have to vote. People have to get out and they've got to vote. If there's going to be
people this year still say that voting doesn't matter, you're screwed. You're an idiot.
Voting,
I'm sorry. Of all years, this is the year to vote.
This might be the most important election of our lifetime.
Yep.
It very seriously might be. A lot of things have to change.
What has been like the worst year of our lifetime? Like, by far.
Yeah, man, you're not kidding. 2020 has friggin'
Can we skip it? Can we just fast forward to the election so we can vote and then just go to 2021?
Yeah, it's something moving forward off of this year. Things have to look different in many different aspects of life. And, voting is going to be huge. It's sad to say, we were talking a little bit before we got on, but, sadly, I saw Trump winning again. I can't lie to you. I saw Trump just being back in office because I figured, depending on how, COVID shook out in the world and in the country, if a vaccine or something popped up, Trump's going to take all the credit and people are going to say, Trump did something, and it just would happen like that. But with a situation like George Floyd's murder bringing a lot of things back into the light, and then the way he's handling it as the leader of this country, the way he's handling things, the dumbass statements he's making. If you, again, I said this earlier, if the heart in your chest is beating, your eyes can see, your ears can hear, and take notice of what's happening and what he's doing, there's no way this guy can lead anything moving forward. It's sad, like you said, Jared, that we got to wait till, September to vote and whatnot, but we can't move forward with him leading the way, leading anything, pretty much.
We need to get out and vote. People absolutely have to get out and vote. There's a lot of work that has to get done. And like I said, voting is not it's not even close to the full answer. There are a lot of other things that have to be done in this country.
But it's a step to dealing with what's causing a lot of issues, because even you look at COVID, like before all this has happened, COVID, we all saw it coming. People, it was told to him multiple times, and they had no global plan for it in place, and then now we're behind because of it. So just look at COVID alone, probably should have been a reason for him not to get reelected. Then you put this on top of it and all this stuff that's happening. I know there are a lot of people out there that don't like Joe Biden because, hey, I get it. He's a little older. If you're a true Democrat, he might be a little too Republican-ish for you. But like, what's the alternative?
anything right now. I'll take a stick on a tree to make better decisions than Donald Trump in office right now.
It's a situation that we need to figure out. It's a situation that has to have serious conversations. And a lot of people don't want to have these conversations because they're uncomfortable. But uncomfortable, and this is just a fact of life. This isn't just in this situation. Uncomfortable is what brings change. Uncomfortable is what brings improvement. We have to keep having these conversations. Voices have to be heard. And I think, like we've said a couple times now, I think that there has been a bigger impact here with the voices, with people stepping up, than there has been in the past. And I think
one thing you can see too there is like how quickly it became a global thing. Like obviously
Dublin and England were both marching.
Other incidents have, localized in certain parts of the states, and you felt it across America. But how quick did this thing globalize to the point where other countries were protesting against us? The entire country of the U.S. alone, so quickly, everybody you saw marches across the country. It didn't take a long time. Now again, we all have time on our hands. We're not going anywhere. But it just feels different.
Good, and you want, we need people to take notice, because clearly we've done this before in marches and whatnot, and it gets big, and then after a while it kind of fizzles. There's no more fizzling out. Fizzling out can't be an option anymore, and it has to blow up bigger than the United States, Dublin, Ireland, wherever, England. If everybody's
not a thing just here.
It's not just here. And if everybody's taking notice across the world, not just the country, across the world, maybe something will happen. Maybe a change will be made. If the conversation, like I've been saying all day these last couple of days, just needs to continue. The conversation needs to keep happening so that it's not just something that is here one day, gone tomorrow after a few days, and we're back to, just the normal. It has to continue to be a conversation that people are having, and so that ears continue to stay wide open.
And it comes to the states using our platform as a country. There's no secret, we're a huge country. In any facet, you put us against the world, and we're a global player in anything you do. Sports, like Olympics, just politics, like everything. We're a global player. So why can't we as a country step up and lead this too? This should be something that no questions asked. The United States should be forefronting. China's not going to do it. Russia's certainly not going to do it. Why can't us as a country step up and be the, we were founded on moving away from the old school days, and that's how we were found. Let's take advantage of having that kind of big platform as a country. And a lot of people overseas, sports or not, look to us anyway. Why not we use that? Why don't us as a country just use that platform? We need to.
The United States are looked at as clowns right now. We're led by a clown in a sense. So other countries looking at us are just like, they're fools over there. They can't even get stuff together in their own country. And that in itself is a whole different conversation we could have. But, if people are standing in a sense solidarity with what's happening and understanding, it just makes for a bigger movement that can't stop. It can't stop, can't ever stop. Some reform is going to happen, whether it's with government, whether it's with police reform. Some change is going to happen somewhere, as long as the conversations continue and people continue to use their platforms to speak up on what's been taking place and what is taking place. I'm not saying we're going to solve all the issues in the world. Things don't just get fixed like that. But if you continue to put pressure on stuff, in a sense, something's got to give after a while.
That's something, and honestly, I think we can wrap it up here unless you guys have anything else that you want to really throw into this. But that's something here with these protests and how they're getting loud. Just doing nothing or doing things quietly, that's not going to change anything. You have to make noise, and you have to let the world know that things have to change. Mm-hmm. And again, that is what is happening, and social media has been a major player here, because social media, I know it's just words and I know it's just pictures and videos, but it is a major player in today's world. And social media right now, I don't know if it's ever been louder.
It's different. It's super loud right now. Yeah, it's super loud right now.
So, Mike, you want to wrap up with anything? We were going to talk about, like I said, I didn't know if we're gonna actually talk about it, but I feel like we can cut the show here. The MLB 50-60 game proposal, bananas. But again, not gonna talk about that here. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Maybe they'll have a plan.
We did talk about an idea that would be kind of fire with the rotations and stuff with the 50-60 game schedule. So we can talk about that next week.
Gotta keep that. But here's what I'll say.
All right.
Here's what I'll say. To kind of wrap it up or whatnot. You two guys right here, man. You know, people who watch this, especially white people who are tuning in, take notice. Because it's one thing that you got to understand, and we kind of touched on it earlier, you know, you guys being born into a privilege already in a sense. But you guys are not stupid. You guys are not blind to what's happening. And, you know, being white, you can either sit back and continue to live life and everything's cool, or you can speak up on what you see is happening. And I appreciate you guys using this platform that you have to let people know that, hey, I know and I see what's happening and I'm willing to have a conversation with it. So maybe other people that look like me who are probably sitting back home, not saying much, not doing much, can actually start to use their voice and be heard. Doesn't matter if, you know, you're white, like be heard, be heard. Don't just sit back quietly because, you know, it doesn't really pertain to you. So whatever, if you know what's wrong, do something about it. And I appreciate you guys using this show right here, you know, having me on as a guest for sure, but you guys taking it upon yourselves to have the conversation. Kudos to what you guys have done here for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I want to say thank you, but it's something that people should just be doing. It's something that people in our situation
should be happening.
Should just know.
We shouldn't need a thank you for this. Like,
human thing.
Mike, we both appreciate the hell out of you.
Hey, man.
Always.
Thank
always
y'all.
have.
Thank y'all for sure.
All right, guys, we'll wrap up the show here. Really good show. Couch Guys Sports Podcast, episode number 159. Guys, hammer it home. Black Lives Matter. Do not let your voices be quiet right now. This is a time where we all have to speak up. Couch Guys Sports Podcast, episode number 159. The usual plugs at the end of the show: iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. Guys, Mike, your Twitter handle, exactly. I don't want to screw it up. Your name is spelled in a wild way.
Mr. Mike Nice. Mr. Mike Nice.
Or you can find him just on Twitter, too, as Mike Molyneaux, which is what I was referring to, because there's an X in there. So try to figure out where that X is.
Whatever. Real cool up there. That works too, yeah.
All right, Nick Quaglia, Jared Scali, Mike Molyneaux. Guys, we'll be back next week with episode number 160. We'll talk to you then. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening.
Oh, wait, shit.